Namaste. The real self, hidden deep within, buried under the mask of the body and the mind. We pretend to win. Mind deludes and dictates what we are. But the truth lies deep inside me. Mind is outside. It is the joy that we cannot suppress, the love we show in our gentleness, the passion that drives us to succeed, the consciousness that makes us uniquely us, you and me. We are of the nature of pure consciousness. I want to repeat it again so that you have something deeper within, the real self hidden deep within, buried under the mask we pretend to win. Mind deludes and dictates all the time what we are. But the truth lies deep inside of us. It is the joy that we cannot suppress. When you go into meditation, you have experienced peace and the joy hundred of times. That is independent of anything outside. It is the joy that we cannot suppress, the love we show in our gentleness, the passion that drives us to succeed, the consciousness that makes us uniquely us, you and me. So let me know behind the veil of the body and the mind. What to know? My true nature. Embrace the truth deep within, for our real self is truly all pervading, and peace and happiness, love and wisdom. So always live our life high with the grace and walk the path every day, every moment. For the real self is worth to discover, and it gives us ultimate delight. In the last session, we understood mind is not the source of happiness. And the world outside is also not the source of happiness. And the mind changes. Today, mind is upset. Tomorrow, it is full of pleasure. Next day, it is feeling a kind of a sleepiness. It is the mind. It is not us. So, what is happening to the mind? Why should we worry? Why should we claim that I am upset? It is mind upset. Why I am in anxiety? No, it is mind is in anxiety. Same thing with the world. World outside is not the source of happiness. Contact with anything in the world, any person, relations, situation, event, they cannot be the source of happiness. Any agitation, any stress, any confusion is caused by the mind due to likes and dislikes. You remove the likes and dislikes, there is no reason to have our stress and suffering. So, pleasure, experience in the world means the agitation has stopped. You have to, that needs to be understood. What? I eat pasta and that gives me pleasure, for example. So that is happening because of liking and disliking. Either liking is already there of the pasta in the mind. So that liking keeps on its journey by thinking, I must have it, I must purchase, I must own, I must eat it. So that kind of a hesitation in the mind is not seen. And when we eat pasta, that hesitation is gone, which we claim as pleasure. Pleasure fact is that we know the pasta does not contain the pleasure, mind does not contain the happiness, but I've experienced, oh, we experience the mirage water, but the water is not there in the mirage. We experience the blueness of the sky is not blue. We experience the earth is stationary, but earth is not stationary, it is constantly moving. So your mind says you are upset, but fact is that you are not. Why? Because you are not the mind. That subtle area of our consciousness, that is why it is taking some time. Until the mind is perfectly pure, it reflects that peace in the consciousness from inside. Sometime we start running. You're running for a couple of miles, and after that, you stop, and then you say that now I feel relaxed. No, you have stopped running. So relaxation is natural. So the moment that hesitation in the mind stops, we experience as if it is a pleasure, like a mirage water. We see the earth is stationary, the blueness of the sky, but the fact is different. We have to we have to differentiate between the fact and the fiction. Did you understand the difference between the experience and the knowledge? Same example, the mirage water. There is no water in the mirage. So after you have gained the knowledge that there is no water in the mirage, knowledge is settled inside our head. But the next time you again see the mirage water. So our experience of the mirage water is different from the knowledge that we have. The experience of the stress may be deluding us. No, 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 but I experience it. Again, the same thing. What you experience is may or may not be different from the knowledge, the fact. We have to separate the fact and the fiction. Are you getting it? So anytime the mind says you are worthy of suffering, first thing you have to refuse it with fact, with understanding. And simple understanding, the mind cannot be the source of happiness, mind cannot be the source of suffering. The world outside the situation cannot be the source of pleasure in the suffering. No, 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 but where it is? Where is the water in the mirage? It's a delusion. Also, there is a delusion in the mind, yes. How to remove that? That is what we are doing. We are removing ignorance from the mind. It is important to understand this crazy mind in a different way. You can say the impure mind and the pure mind, or with reference to, you can say the mind is ignorant and mind is wise. Wise mind, ignorant mind. So if you keep in your mind all the time, oh, you have to mind your mind. We keep our mind thinking. You have to think and contemplate to remove that ignorance. The way we remove the ignorance about the water in the mirrors, the stationary, the steadiness of the earth, it is not there. But still we experience every time. So, what is the difference between the two? Mind is the same. Mind moving in this direction, mind moving in this direction. So, let my left hand say what is the ignorant mind, and the right hand should say what is the wise mind. So, ignorant mind, feeling, likes, dislikes, and impulses. And the pure mind, reasoning, knowledge, and clarity. Feeling, likes, dislikes. So when the mind keeps on working with the likes and dislikes, the time comes it becomes the habit, and then we work impulsively. Suddenly there is a feeling, and we get carried away by that feeling. We don't do the reality check. If there is a water in the mirrors, if there is a reason to be anxiety, and that is why modern science says that anxiety is unfounded worries, it has no basis. So I have to, by thinking, how you start thinking, you have to be conscious, you have to be aware. Whenever you have a sense of anxiety and duality and a conflict, we have to think. Let me think where the anxiety is, where the fear is. For example, the fear. There is always a fear of the unknown. You cannot have a fear of the known. We cannot have a fear of unknown. No, we cannot have a fear of known. I know you, you know me. But if the stranger comes, there is always a fear of the unknown. But why the mind has a fear of the unknown? Habit, impulses. That is one difference. Second difference, we can say the ignorant mind is uncontrolled, and the wise mind is consciously controlled. You are not suppressing it, there is no suppression. It is more like a child. You take the child to the mother, oh, Dad, I want this, I want this. That child wants everything, uncontrolled. I don't know whether I should demand that or not, but still the mind keeps on working with the craving, with the possessions, with the strong likes and dislikes. It keeps on thinking. And when we say stop thinking, then say that I feel lonely. Why I feel lonely? Because my mind is still expecting something from outside. So on one side, it's a constant craving, demanding, running in the world. On the other side, that I withdraw myself, but I'm expecting. So that results into loneliness. That is what the uncontrolled mind is. Uncontrolled thought, feeling, speech, and action. We are a human being. We have an intellect. Does not mean that this mind continue thinking, speaking, and acting where we have no role to play. Did anyone send you the SMS and the text that you should worry about me? When I meet you, you should react to me. Did anyone send you the message? Think of it. I know you might be laughing. Nobody sends me the message. But still, I think of a person and I have worries and I react uncontrolled mind. So, what is controlled mind? Controlled mind comes from the intellect. You think intellect can choose and decide. It has a chance, it has a choice. Every human being has a chance because the intellect, we have a free intellect. What we start doing, somebody has said me something and I get upset and I keep on thinking all the time. I disturb my sleep, but that is why I ask a question. Did anyone send us a SMS or message or email? What email? What is the message? That whenever I meet you, please react to me. Please be angry. Please be upset over me. Nobody sends that message. But I keep on thinking. I accumulate the impressions of anger and reaction. This is uncontrolled mind. Do we have a choice? Yes, we have a choice. We are aware what we are doing. Can I stop it? Yes, we can stop it. That is the meaning of we have a free intellect. We have a chance, we have a choice. Anytime from today, when the mind cooks a story and creates the feeling of unrest, we start thinking and speaking. It is better to become aware and stop it and ask the mind what you're thinking. Did that guy, that situation send you the message? Let us move further. Another distinction between the ignorant mind and the wise mind. The ignorant mind is reactive, wise mind is responsive. That reaction manifests in anxiety, in duality, in conflict, in confusion. And response is the state of the calmness, relaxation, poise. React in response. Sometimes people no, why shouldn't I react? No, you should respond to a situation, to a people, to a relationship. Why you should react? Even if someone has said something nasty. We want to know how this mind is working. And then we see, do we have a choice to change the mind? And the answer is yes. Then how to change the mind? By understanding, by thinking, by contemplating, by reflecting. You know, the stress and suffering, silence and peace, these are the few words made from the same alphabet. It is thinking in one direction makes the mind impure. It is thinking in another direction makes the mind pure. Because every thought contains the knowledge. Thought is just a product of knowledge. So when the ignorant mind is reactive, why it reacts? Because of emotional dependence. You can also differentiate, have a distinction between the ignorant mind and the wise mind. Emotional dependence, emotional freedom. So, what happens in the emotional dependence? The mind blocks the knowledge. In emotional freedom, mind offers the knowledge in any situation, in any relationship. Enough is enough, and I will divorce. Emotional dependence. The person you are divorcing is already independent and separate. So why I say it? Because I have a delusion of the paper. On the paper we are married, on the paper we divorce. Can I start feeling that I have a sense of emotional dependence? And out of that, no. Can I have a feeling and a sense of emotional freedom? With that sense of emotional freedom, you talk to anyone and everyone. That idea of emotional dependence will never touch your mind. You're always free. That is another way to distinct and differentiate between the ignorant mind and the wise. Eastern wisdom lays too much of stress because if you have the pure mind, or when we have the pure mind, that can reflect the real self, which is of the nature of peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. And that is the main objective of meditation. I normally talk to others about emotional dependence and emotional freedom. You are hungry, where you go? You go to the kitchen or you go to the restaurant. When you are hungry, you don't land up in the bar. Now compare this, give a logic. I hate you, enough is enough because you said me something and so I do want to divorce you. Where the divorce has come, example, where the divorce or a fight or a reaction comes when someone has said me something which I don't like or which I like. So if I dislike, there is a sense of reaction in me. That is what I'm talking about. Mind is reactive. Ignorant mind is blind. Wise mind is always open. Whereas blind mind, it has a thought of a hatred and it keeps on repeating it. It stops asking the question that why I have a hatred, why I have a reaction. You stop asking, you have unfounded worries, you have fear. Open mind, ask the question, resolves that fear. So blind mind makes the decision in haste. Open mind, first, it wants the fact, it takes the decision with the clarity, with the reason and understanding. One of the most important factors or I would say the distinction between the two. The ignorant mind works through imagination and delusion. It does not do the reality check. Wise mind do the reality check with the knowledge by thinking and discernment. You should start thinking and separate the ignorant mind with the wise mind every day, every moment, in all your relationship. In the next time, the life is always better. You are upset with someone. The mind has recently received that experience of being upset with a person. You are in the kitchen and you are thinking about that person. You are lying down on the bed, you are thinking about that person. So a constant thinking results in imagination. And because you are thinking against that person, the mind puts you into delusion. You start having a kind of an imagination that causes more problem to you. We are understanding basically the nature of the mind, the characteristics of the mind, so that we can find out what we have to do in our life, where we are going. So, the one distinction that we are understanding, the ignorant mind is full of imagination, and that causes the delusion. Wise mind also does the imagination, but it's a right imagination that has a reality check by thinking and discernment. That is the way this mind plays tricks due to ignorance, and the mind guides us with the right knowledge and practice. What we are learning, we have just an introductory sessions on the 40 steps. We have yet to start those 40 steps. What is the goal of these 40 steps? Awakening and realization. What is that awakening and realization? To discover permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. Plus, bring an end to the suffering. Bring an end to the suffering. So, where it that is the goal of all meditation and the journey of the Eastern wisdom. End of suffering, awakening to our true nature. And what is our true nature? It is of the nature of permanent peace and happiness. We have yet to start with that. But we are laying a very strong foundation so that each step offers the clarity. So that is what I said. When the but from how we get the knowledge, we get the knowledge from the mind by listening and learning, doing the practice. So same mind has to be pure so that it can receive and retain the knowledge that will result into end of suffering. If the mind is full of imagination and delusion, it misleads to anxiety, fear, confusion, whereas the wise mind leads to calmness, peace, creativity, and success. Let us pick up one more distinction: comparison, conflict, and confusion. 3C on ignorant mind and 3C on wise mind. Comparison, the mind begins comparison. So that comparison is based on the impulsive mind, on the likes and dislikes. So it creates a conflict first in our mind. And then when we start speaking and expressing, living our life, it lives with the confusion. So whenever we have comparison, conflict, and confusion, we should move to comfortable, tell the mind, no more thinking about that situation, that condition, that relationship. Let me be comfortable first. Be carefree. You already understand what do you mean by being carefree. Free from all the cares that the mind does. How the mind cares? By comparison, by conflict, by confusion. So you are comfortable, you are carefree, and you are casual. So once you experience that state of the mind, then you start reset the thinking. What I have to do, why I'm comparing? Is there any need to have a conflict? And you will find an answer big no. You are already done. Mind is clear. That mind can treat the journey, treat the path of the self discovery. So, what happens when you are constantly working on the mind? You connect, you contribute, you are grateful, you live in that state of compassion. No, no, you have already told us about the distinction between the ignorant mind and the wise mind. What should be our goal when happiness is not in the world, when the happiness is not present in the mind? There you started. That is the question. What should be the answer? Master says that we should not have a pessimistic view. People take it, those pessimistic view, and they start committing all kinds of nasty things. Either they feel the loneliness and they get worried, or they do criminal activities, or they commit a suicide. So we are not going there. The mind should be very clear. So where we are moving, I want to know what is the ultimate goal of this life. Think in a while sitting on your couch, look at your pets. I know you have many pets. Look at your pets. So what do you look? You look at the shape and the size and the color of the body, don't you? Yes. So then you watch your body, my body, with the pet body. Body is common. Body is common. It has a different shape and the size. One, body is common in a sense that they contain the same carbohydrate, protein, vitamin, minerals, etc., including the body of a mosquito, to body of an elephant, to body of a tiger, and the body of a human being. It is given to us by an existence, so we have to live with it. What about the breath? Breath is also the same. Turtle, breath rate of a turtle is around 2 to 3, and they live for 150 years. Perhaps they're one creature that has the longest lifespan. So, but the breath is the same. dog breathes about 35 to 40 breaths a minute, and their lifespan is just 10 to 12 or 15 years. Same thing, more or less, with a cat. Just pay attention. Body shape and the size is different. Fat body, one needs the body to be a living species. One needs in breath to be in the living species. And it is the same. So at the body level, at the level of the breath, there is no change. We and other living species, all living species, are the same. Go further. Mosquito doesn't have a mind. No, they have a mind. They jump onto the thing where they can find the food. If it's too hot, they will not go there. And they are normally found in a temperate climate. The moisture is there, and then they can fly. So we also have a mind. So at the level of the survival, food, safety, reproduction, and sleep, we all have the more or less, we and the living species are same. Then what is the difference? Eastern wisdom, our masters, they lived in the forest, in the woods, and contemplated and meditated for thousands of years. They dedicated their entire life to reveal this knowledge. It cannot be brushed aside so easily. So then what is the difference between all of us and the rest of the living species? We can differentiate between the ignorant mind and the wise mind. The wise mind will take a right decision, reality check, but the rest of the animal living species do not have that choice, the free intellect, which can think, do the reality check, make a right decision. Right decision for what? Right decision in their life. But what do you mean by right decision? To live in peace and happiness. You must absorb, assimilate today's lesson. Oh, is the reality check? Is the impure mind is working or the pure mind? So I have a comparison, conflict, and the confusion. The impure mind is working. Let me take rest, be comfortable, carefree, and casual. Then reset. Let me start thinking. That approach will make your anxiety, duality, conflict, being upset flee from you. Do you remember what we were talking? If mind is not the source of happiness, if the world outside is not the source of happiness, who is thinking? The mind. Which mind? The pure mind, the wise mind. It wants to know, it wants to reality, it wants to do the reality check. Why don't you push away that mind which claims you are worthy of suffering by thinking? Think. So, but there is a catch in it. What is that, coach? So we were asking ourselves that what is the goal of our life? What should we do in order to bring an end to this suffering and awaken to the permanent peace and happiness. What that should be our goal. So we should also understand the distinction between the means and the goals. I go to the restaurant. What is the goal? To meet my hunger. What are the means? Car, money, many factors. I should have enough money to go to that restaurant where I can pay the bill. And then I sit there. Means. So do you see the means and the goals? Want to drive a car. Means is the money. Means is the bed on which we sleep. Goal is to sleep. So normally what happens is that we try to mix them together. The means becomes the goal and the goal becomes the means. Who does this? Ignorant mind. Ah, you are my honey, will always give me happiness. Even the honey does not have a happiness from where he or she gives you that happiness. Example. Okay. Do you see that? We forget that. When the mind is ignorant, we forget. Celebration. I celebrate this event to have happiness. Celebration is a means to discover the happiness inside, not outside. Means and the goals. At the times of the stress, duality, conflict, and confusion, if your mind thinks this, have a clear distinction between the goals and means, 50% of your problems will drop. We started comparing other living species with us. We have realized that we have a free intellect, we have a power of thought and thinking. We can think. You can think even in extreme pain, in extreme pleasure, in any situation with anyone. We don't do it. We get carried away by the blind mind, impulses, likes and dislikes. Huh? Did you get it? So once we are clear, the impure mind and the pure mind, ignorant mind and the wise mind. So the ignorant mind cannot make it clear to us what should be the means and what should be the goals. Only the wise mind can understand, assimilate, and digest, retain that knowledge. What are the goals and the means? Now, let us work through the wise mind. Wise mind says, for food, body needs a food that I will get from outside, no problem at all. Physical safety, I should have a shelter or clothes or some essential possessions. What about peace and happiness? Can I grab 1 pound of peace from Fry or Walmart? Answer is no. But even if the answer is no, the impure mind takes over and it starts thinking that it falls into delusion. And delusion is ignorance. Ignorance causes this suffering, and then I feel upset. Are you getting it? For food, for safety, shelter, clothes, I must approach the world outside to get it. I cannot create within. And then the simple question: are peace, happiness, love, and wisdom for sale in the Walmart? I just become aware they are not for sale. It has to be discovered within. That is what we are saying, Eastern wisdom. What we are seeking permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. One day your mood is upset and you tell your mind, move inside. Look at the breath. Chant some mantra, and you will recognize that mood upset is caused by the ignorant mind you have introduced to the mind that makes you wise. Mood upset is gone. If it is gone faster, you are a great seeker. If it takes time, you are a seeker. It takes longer time, you are still a seeker because you keep on making an effort. Are peace, happiness, love, and wisdom on sale? No. We already understand that the world does not contain peace and happiness outside. There is no chance. We have already done that lesson. Second lesson, we have done that the mind is also not the source of peace and happiness. That is why we have to make it pure so that the mind can follow the path. Clear? What should we do? That's what we are doing by thinking, by understanding. First, recognize we are a human being, then choose what is right and good in life. To understand and to choose what is right and good, we need to think, contemplate, and reflect. What to contemplate and reflect, I already told you. Every time the mind gets upset, you just think, for my basic physical needs, my body needs to depend on the world outside. But for my psychological needs of peace and happiness, love and wisdom, they are already within me. The ignorant mind is covering that. It has created a veil. That is why I'm not able to see that. So obviously the first step should be moving towards the pure mind. Then the mind or the intellect chooses the goal of life. Goal of life is to discover peace and happiness, love and wisdom in any situation, in every situation, in any relationship, in every relationship, in all locations, at all times in our life. You're asking me to choose a big, no, you have already chosen big goals. Why should we choose that goal? No other living species choose their goals except the humans. And to be a human is to work on the mind. To be an animal is to be led by the mind, to be a human, to lead the mind. Is it not simple? All living beings are operated by the nature, by the existence. Look at the whale, elephant, tiger. They depend on their parents for food, growth, and when they become adult, physical maturity, they reach to the physical maturity. They don't have any goal inside. Once we reach to they reach to the physical maturity, they live life depending on the age, depending on their shape, and then they die. They cannot choose their goals. We cannot stop after the physical maturity. Fact is that the real journey starts after the physical maturity. Then the mind, the intellect is free. It starts choosing the goal and the career and a lot of things. But it missed one thing: self-discovery. So there I cited a metaphor of a baby cat and a monkey cat. Oh, sorry, baby monkey and the baby cat. One master referred to that metaphor. That's just an example to help us to understand how our mind should work. What is that metaphor? No elephant wants from the nature outside to increase their lifespan. We want that. We choose our food. Elephant keep on eating the grass only. Tiger keeps on eating the meat. We have a liberty, we can choose. So what it means, the other living species have a very set pattern. They reach to the physical maturity, and depending on the lifespan, they live and they die. They cannot choose their goal. We can choose our the goal. And the master says then if you want to choose the goal of life is to evolve, to discover the real self while you are working outside. So as if all other living species are controlled by the existence. It's the journey of a baby cat. So what happens with the baby cat? The cat mother always, if the baby cat wants to move from one place to the other, the cat mother holds the baby cat and moves from one place to the other. They are totally dependent, unconscious, habitual on the mother. Same way, all other living species, except the humans, are dependent on the existence outside. The existence has given them a particular shape and the size of the body, the lifespan, the number of their breath, and then they live accordingly. They are intelligent, but we do not have, if we take the luxury to leave everything like a baby cat, we are going to suffer. So all the characteristics we discussed today about the ignorant mind belongs to that category. I heard that. We sometimes we feel I heard. I watched the Discovery Channel, and the scientist was telling the turtle travels thousands of miles to lay their eggs. Once they lay their eggs, they forget the eggs. They go back, travel thousands of miles away, and it is entire the responsibility of those eggs. One egg breaks up, the kid comes out. That kid, the baby turtle, pricks the other egg. So they help each other. Then once they become together, then they travel towards an ocean. Intelligence done by. But what about the baby mother, baby monkey? Baby monkey holds the monkey mother. The baby monkey never leaves the monkey mother because the baby monkey finds that is how he can evolve, he can grow, he can become independent. So that metaphor is used. What does it mean here? That I have to hold on, that my I am real self. Real self is of the nature of peace and happiness. The suffering is caused by the mind. And so when I will treat the path, I can get out of it. I can get out of it. In that context, I explained an example of a bit. So you wake up in the morning, many thoughts are coming unwanted, unwelcome. Why not invoke the thought that is relevant in your life? That is what we want to do. I want to discover myself. Just wake up in the morning with a mantra, let everyone be happy, let everyone be in peace, blessed, or just do nothing. Simply remember, real self is my essential nature and of the nature of peace and happiness. From there, you start the journey. So, one necessities at the physical level we meet from the world. But one thing we must make it sure that peace, happiness, love, and wisdom are not present in the world, not present in the mind. So we have to discover it within. We have to remove the veil of ignorance. That is what the goal of life is. So our masters in the beginning, for a non-seeker, they say that, okay, you want to earn money? Yes, go into the world, earn money. You want a pleasure? Enjoy that pleasure. Have a family life, have kids, enjoy all the pleasures of the world, but follow it, regulate it by honesty, what is right and good. So there are three goals. But once we have experienced these goals in life, Master say these are not the true goals. The true goal of life is to discover, to bring an end to the suffering and to get rid of all kinds of suffering. And start working on your mind. Instead, the mind works on you. I already explained it with reference to the ignorant mind and the wise mind. But the wise mind follows the path of a baby monkey. Means Mentally, I hold on to the goal of life. So when we hold on in our mind with emotion, that is known as the path of the Shreyas, path of the Shreyas and the path of the Prayas. So we think what is right and good, and we separate it from what we like and dislike. You leave those thoughts, feelings, and emotions where it has the content of likes and dislikes. Or whenever the mind invites you to think of likes and dislikes, you rethink over it to make it what is right. You check it, what is right and good. I can tell you, the moment you think in that way, nothing in the mind will cause you any problem.